And the last game we have on this episode is Drop It.
Designed by Bernhard, Lach, and Rapp. And artist is, again, no one drew this, and it's published by KOSMOS.
It is a bunch of squares and shapes painted.
I like that name.
Someone had to draw the cover.
What was this a remake of?
Batik.
All right, so if you're not familiar with either game, basically Drop It is a game, think where you have this thing standing up in the middle, kind of like Connect 4. It's made of plastic. It's see-through. And you're going to be taking different shapes and dropping them into the top. Except unlike Connect 4 where there's spots that they're going to go, this is kind of just an open area of acrylic or whatever. It's not acrylic, but plastic. And you're going to drop pieces in there, and they're going to land on top of each other and move around because you have circles, you have squares, you have diamonds, and triangles. And these things don't really set on each other very well, so they're going to move around. And the only two major things about this is you drop a piece, you get points. You get points based on how far up it is. So there's these lines that are kind of built into the plastic. And if you're in, let's call them zones. So the higher zone that your piece is touching or part of, you're going to get that many points. And they just escalate from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. There's also small little frosted areas on the plastic that if you're covering any portion of that, they give you bonus points as well. Now there is a catch to this game. It's not just dropping pieces and getting points. If you drop a piece and it touches the same color piece or the same shape piece, it eliminates the ability for it to score. So you have to be cognizant of where you're dropping it and make sure it doesn't drop on one of your own pieces because obviously they're the same color, or drop on the same shape. So there is a little bit of choosing which piece to best drop at the right time. So you also don't set yourself up in a position where anything you drop is going to give you nothing. If you're playing 2 players, each player gets 2 sets of pieces. So one player will get blue and yellow, and one person gets red and green. I guess you could switch that up, but that's the recommended one based on the fact that on the sides of the board and on the bottom of the board, you're going to put these little cardboard pieces that show you colors, and those also count as colors. So if like you drop a green piece and it lands on the ground and it's touching the green section, it also counts as the touching another color piece. So it eliminates your scoring, and then the walls of it as you go up also have those colors as well. So those count. There's variants where you can swap those out for shapes instead of colors. There's also a variant where you get these Joker tokens, and you get so many that you can spend and basically say, oh, I'm going to make this piece score or whatever. Anyway, you can also play it 4 players where each player gets their own color, or 3 players or whatever. Anyway, once everybody's dropped all their pieces, whoever has the most points is the winner. So
I bet you can play it solo.
I don't remember if there's a variant in there, but I guess you could.
Why not?
Just to get a high score.
Right.
Yeah, just see how high you can get it.
It wouldn't be very exciting.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but there's people that want to solify everything. So there probably is a variant out there that somebody has written.
I think there's a variant where you play 4 players, but 2-player teams.
Oh, there is one in the book.
So it goes a little faster.
Sure. Yeah. You played the, so I've seen that it was based off the original one, but I think the only thing that this one added was like the walls and the floor.
It added the walls and the floor and sort of the zones.
Yeah.
So basically all the point scoring.
Oh.
The original doesn't have any point scoring.
Oh, how did you do it?
You just take turns dropping pieces in, and whoever breaks the top plane of the entire plexiglass loses.
Oh, interesting. It's terrible. This sounds way better.
This sounds so much better.
This sounds so much better because you're dropping a piece and you're like, oh, I could drop the circle here. Oh, and then you drop it, and there is no takebacks. Like, there's a lot of games where we're kind of like okay with some take back, right? But obviously dexterity kind of ruins that. This one's bad because you dropped it into something that you can't get.
It's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to drop that piece. Oh, man. Okay, so you just dropped a circle onto a pile of circles. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah. So I thought that was really fun. It makes it easy to play with, like, my son because I technically played the game with him. I mean, he employs strategy, but I mean, he played the game
every time.
But then he got to the point where I always wanted to drop 2 at a time, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're playing by house rules. So,
Oh, that's a good house rule, actually.
drop 2 at a time.
That would be challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of the problem is the shapes and the way that they sort of don't go together and cause problems for you because they will lean over and do weird things. But the other problem is the way that the thing that they're made out of, they kind of bounce.
That's
They
what I was
do.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Not only do they bounce, they kind of like destroy whatever is on the bottom, and sometimes it kind of explodes out and everything moves around.
Matt, what you think about this one?
Like Eric said, there's a lot of chain reaction whenever you drop. It's not just bouncing usually by itself, but the game itself, yeah, it's fun. It's a little bit more thinky than you would think, just because
Yes.
of trying not to. You run out of options at a point of it's.
Or good options.
I've only played 2-player games, and it just seems like eventually you're like, if he doesn't hurry up and put something on the side, I've got nowhere to go other than trying to drop on pieces that obviously I shouldn't be trying to drop on. So
Yeah. And it's interesting because, you know, you can drop the pieces, like as you play it more and more, you can drop the pieces to almost counterplay your opponent, which I didn't really think about in the first couple plays. But as you're playing, you're like, I've set it up to where basically there's squares across everything. And they have like squares and
left.
triangles, or squares and circles, but their circles are most of what color's left. It's not like a much deeper strategy. I'm not saying that
It's
there's
like
like
level
a
2 strategy.
yeah, it's like level 2.
Yeah.
It's like more of like a 1.5 because it's almost not even a full second level of strategy. But it is something that you don't realize the first couple times you play it. You know, you start dropping, you're just like, oh, I locked myself out because now all my pieces are kind of on top. But if you do it the right way, you can let them lock themselves out. It's just kind of neat. Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, and it's fast game.
A really fast
Yeah.
game. Really fast game.
So
15 minutes.
I would say I've probably seen this
You
around.
can just speed play this game.
Yeah.
5 minutes. Bam, 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 bam.
I've seen this around, and from looking at it and from seeing it, I really didn't have an inkling to go try it out or play it. But actually experiencing and playing it, I did enjoy it. So I would have to say kudos to that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually a better game than what it looks like it would be.
Oh yeah, you look
Because
at it.
You look at it and you're like, it's like Connect 4 or something.
Yeah.
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 And I question that too. You have 4 shapes, yeah,
Yeah.
and various colors, but why are they just boring shapes, circles and triangles? Why not have like animal upon animal shapes? Why not have interesting shapes?
That's true.
I guess they could, but you know the interesting thing with the shapes they are now, I think it's easier to anticipate the gravity of what happens.
Yeah, the circles
I'm going
are
to drop this
to-
circle. I know it's going to
yeah,
roll, and I kind of see that there's a slant here and a slant there. So you can work that into your strategy. I think if you made those
Okay.
weird shapes, you almost could eliminate that unless you've played it a billion times.
Okay, if they were weird, but I mean, you could have hedgehogs; they're gonna roll, or you know.
Well, yeah. There you go. You,
George is really shooting for animals.
yeah, apparently. I guess you could screen print these if you really wanted to.
Yeah. Just paint them.
Yeah.
Paint them. The only way I thought about like stickers, but I guess they could stick to the side as they go down, which is funny because every time I play this game, I take one of the walls and I pull it out and I stick it in the middle and kind of like wave it around inside because the static electricity that can possibly build up in the middle, I've seen the pieces get hung in the middle of it.
Oh, really?
And it's not because they're stuck to the wall
Yeah.
based on pressure. They're stuck because of static electricity.
So do you
Oh.
score? So, yeah.
No, I tap the top until it falls.
Ah.
But it's happened so much now that every time I bust it out of the box, I just go with one of the walls, and I've never seen it happen again. So it could just be that it was a newer copy. Each time I play this game, it's been from a newer copy, which is weird. And so maybe that was it. But yeah, static electricity seemed to have played a part in the beginning. I posted one of the pictures on Instagram if you check that out.
And it's just
We're just
hanging.
hanging.
It's like in the middle. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, anything else? I mean, I really like this game. I've pretty much showed it to everybody. Taking it to work.
Check this out.
Yeah, because it's so fast, and you just basically tell anybody, I'm going to hand you stuff, because you don't have to tell them the setup. You don't have to tell them anything. Drop pieces. Don't touch the same color. Don't touch the same shape. Don't touch the walls of the same color.
This is how you score.
Yep.
2 minutes rules.
Yeah.
Do you prefer it to Connect 4, for example?
Connect 4's garbage.
What?
Is this a joke?
No, I think it's a good game.
Connect
How
4?
about Connect 4 launchers?
I don't know that one.
We have it, but I haven't played it. Onward.
Well,
I think Connect 4 is a good game for kids. Like,
oh, for kids.
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's actually cooler than Connect 4 because it uses bright colors. It uses really cool shapes. My son was so excited to play this that I did not bring it to game night.
Oh.
My wife's like, you realize this is when I bought it because I liked it so much I bought it. And she goes, you realize you're going to have to leave it here, right? I was like, no, he'll forget. I was like, oh.
He'll forget about it.
No, he won't.
No.
No, he has a steel mind. If you say something and you promised him something, he is going to
He'll remember.
Man,
Yeah.
it is so crazy. Yeah, anyway, I left it.
Can't remember to take out the trash.
Teenage years.
Yeah, I'm not there, but when I was at game night playing, like my wife was texting me pictures, he was having a blast with it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and he likes Connect 4 just because we're sticking things in the top.
Yeah.
But this is like we play like Connect 4. If they're young, he's only like 3.5. He doesn't get the concept of the strategy of doing 4 in a row.
Right.
But in this one, if I just say we're gonna make it as tall as possible, he totally gets that. And so he's like, it's cool stuff. Yeah. So I think for kids, it's a really fun game.
Does he get the strategy of don't touch the same color, that kind of thing? Like
For about 3 seconds, but yeah.
Then he forgets.
Yeah. Like I think he's at the age right now that dexterity games work really well, but strategic games or anything that takes a little bit of thinking, nope,
Not there.
not there
Yeah.
yet.
Yep.
He just wants to see things fall and stack on each other. He likes to knock them all over and stuff.
This one is really fun. Really fun for that.
Yeah. Yep. I highly recommend this. This is such a good game, so fast, and this is one that you could. I feel like it's not a table display game where, like a glass chess set or something. But I mean, you could leave this set up, and people are like, "Whoa, what's that?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, let me show you," because it only takes 15 minutes. So, anyway, anything else? Nope. That.
Nope.
That is Drop It.